Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the first episode of, I don't know what the heck we're going to call this thing. I'm holding a red mic. I've got red wires. There is no microphone stand because make zero errors in your thought. I spent 30 minutes of straight up manpower trying to put together a mic stand, and you're looking at the fruits of those labors. So we're holding a red mic. Why I chose the red mic, I will not know, but this is the first ever episode of the morning after the Red Mike Show. I don't know what we're going to call it, but it's a work in progress. Can we appreciate all the effort I put into this awesome graphic? Took me, I'm not going to tell you how much time because I'm a little bit embarrassed about the amount of time that it took me, but let's get right into it. This is going to be your one-stop shop for all things college football. First of all, it's giving a Tim Dillon vibe. I'm just going to be talking to myself in a room alone, and that's okay. But listen, we got a bunch of things we're going to get to today. Just college football. Welcome in. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times, please, because this ride's going to move, and I don't want you to get hurt. So let's start with our key games of the weekend. Vanderbilt going into Alabama. Alabama is a minus 10.5 point favorite. The over-under is 55.5. And here's how I see this game going. Diego Pavia, go ahead. Do me a favor. Batten down the hatches because you're walking into a storm, brother. For all my Vanderbilt fans out there, I just want to say this. It's been a fun ride for you guys, and that's okay to sit down, sit back, and go, this was fun. We did beat Alabama, but now we got to play them again, and unfortunately, Ty Simpson with the one leg sleeve might just be the guy. I'm taking Alabama minus 10.5. Also, disclaimer, please wager responsibly, and please understand that I do have rocks for brains. So a lot of these takes you might not like. But let's try to make some money, shall we? I'm all in on Ty Simpson in the one leg sleeve. I'm also all in on Ryan Williams, Jam Miller. I think this is the get back, lick back game for Alabama. I love the minus 10.5. I love Alabama's team total. I think that Vanderbilt defense is going to be in trouble. And when that team is in trouble, Pavia is going to be trying to make him plays, and I think this Alabama defense might just have a surprise for him. We move. Miami going into Florida State. The spread is currently Miami minus 4.5, and the over-under is 53.5. Here's how I look at this game. Miami's got the trenches figured out, and if there's one thing you need to win the war, it's good trench work, and everybody knows it, and that's okay to acknowledge. However, on the other side of the ball, there is just a whirling dervish named Tommy Castellanos, and I just cannot fade him after a horrific loss to Virginia. I do think Virginia is an awesome football club, but if you're Florida State right now, you cannot lose that game. So now I'm getting whirling dervish Castellanos at home against the Canes with 4.5 points. I'm taking those points all day. I don't think this game's going to go over. I think it's going to be win the game on the ground and let Tommy make some crazy plays. So give me those points. But you can't tell me that's not weird. How good Miami has looked, you can't tell me that's not weird. Let's move to our next key game before we get to our couple other segments. Texas at Florida. The current spread is Florida plus 7. The over-under is 41.5. We're in the swamp, and it reeks. It stinks. It's smelly. And this line is where that smell is coming from. I think these teams are just basically the same team, to be totally honest with you. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were saying that if you gave Florida Texas' schedule and Texas Florida's schedule, they'd probably have the same record. I'd like to agree with that take, but I'd also like to give my own spin on it. DJ Lagway just passes my eye test, and the eye test is during warm-ups, he looks sick, he looks like he's going to be the Heisman, and then you got to just turn that game off so that the eye test doesn't go over. Because make no mistake, those lights go on, and that kid shuts his brain off. However, I've been barking up this tree for quite some time. And I don't think Arch is the real deal. I really don't think Arch is the real deal. And you're telling me I get Florida with 7 points in my pocket, and DJ Lagway's telling me that this offense at some point is going to pop, and when it does, you remember who told you, and it's going to be DJ Lagway. So I'm just in a spot. And that spot is I'm taking the points, plus 7 with Florida. 6.5, 7.5, whatever you get it at, I'm taking those points all day. I feel like that's just something you got to do. especially against Arch Manning, who I just don't think is the guy. Florida's banged up for whatever reason. The spread is still a touchdown and under. So give me Florida plus 7.5. But let's get to some fun. Our new segment and next segment. Every segment's going to be new, by the way, from now on. Bring out all the keys. We've got some locks to unlock. And yes, I know you're sitting there and you might have just cringed at that because I just did that live, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to hold you. That also made me cringe. But let's talk about some betting, shall we? The greatest thing about college football, and let's take a minute here, is that we get to sit down with beers from 9 a.m. in some places to midnight, depending on if that island's got its lights on and the air going, and just destroy a couple beers and wager on 30-plus games. So if you don't have a book full of wagers, you're just lying to yourself, or the other option, which is almost worse, you just don't want it enough. But fill my holes with points. Let's talk about our favorite overs. We're going to talk about my favorite overs every single one of these episodes. Fill my holes with points. This is for all my over bettors. Iowa State, Cincinnati, fill my holes. Unranked home favorites. That's an auto click in the gambling community, and I agree. I'm going to trust Sorsby to get this job done. But what I'm also going to trust him to do is throw that pill around the park. And I also trust Rocco Becht to throw that pill around the park in Cincinnati as well. I think this is going to be a classic Big 12 gun-slinging matchup. There's going to be points galore. There's going to be points all over the board. There's going to be points all over your face. There's going to be points in holes. And I want all of them 55.5. Sorsby might just be the GOAT. And we got to give Javon his flowers there. We got to give Javon his flowers. The over of the century, sound the alarms. Bwah, 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 bwah. Washington versus Maryland, over 53.5. Do you see what's breaching the water over there? Oh my God, it's a whale. This is a nuclear whale. This is a nuclear whale, Malik Washington versus Damon Williams. After Damon Williams got absolutely punched in the mouth by Ohio State, he gets to go into a Maryland stadium, and I think this is going to have the most points we've seen in a long time. That Washington offense that everyone was talking about got absolutely stifled, and now you're telling me I get him in a bounce back spot against a Maryland defense, and you're telling me I get Malik Washington at home looking to solidify Maryland as a program in the Big Ten and not just basketball? Shout out Kevin Willard. Yeah, give me all those points. 53.5 nuclear whale. Mississippi State, Texas A&M. This is just a system. We're taking Mississippi State every single game. They're just our darling. We already hit their future of over 3.5 wins. They started the year 4-0. Shout out. This game's soaring over. Marcel Reed, Blake Shapen. You're going to hear a lot of quarterback names thrown at you on a show like this with me because they're the most important position. Marcel Reed, Blake Shapen. I think this is going to be another gunslinging matchup in the SEC. Let's move to some spreads. Spread them. I'm going to try to keep these episodes quick. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to spend a lot of time wasting your time. Spread them. My favorite college football spreads of the weekend. It starts with a money line, and that is just how Mikey Evers is going to do it. I'm going to call the segment Spread 'em, and then I'm going to give a money line right after that. It's Cincinnati. I'm going to Brendan Sorsby. I'm going to be the guy that clicks the unranked home favorite cheese. And that means that by the time you're listening to this, Iowa State has now just won by 14 points. So go ahead, chalk it up. Thank you for coming out, Cincinnati. We will never be trusting that system again. And I do trust the Cincinnati team to continue to shock the Big 12, which I think is an important narrative, as this Big 12 just has turned out to just be teams beating up on teams, little brothers beating up on big brothers every single game. Baylor minus 6.5. Just fade some bad ball clubs. Just fade the bad ball clubs. I sometimes do this thing in my head where I go, maybe this really bad team is going to come out and look really good. We don't need to do that anymore. Just fade the bad ball clubs. Speaking of bad ball clubs, if you're watching right now, I'm pointing to the New York Jets thing that's right next to me. Shout out Stitch. All right, we move. Wake Forest plus 7.5. Robbie Ashford has just been an absolute shock to me. The kid has been to every college from Timbuktu down over to gosh darn NYU. He actually has not played at NYU. They don't have a football program. But Robbie Ashford's been everywhere, and this seems like his coming out party at Wake Forest, dude. I've been taking the kids rushing yards every single weekend, and I love this spread, plus 7.5. He just kind of got screwed out of his last game, and now you got Virginia Tech coming off a big win against NC State. So, yeah, I absolutely love this spot for him. I love this spot for Wake. I wouldn't be shocked if they're a live dog to win outright. And speaking of Virginia plus 7, I've been screaming it from the mountaintops, and now I'm going to scream it from my wooden desk with my red mic. Miller Moss has a turnover problem, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a turnover problem. Turnover problem. And when guys got turnover problems, we take Virginia with the points. Chandler Morris makes games exciting. And I think Virginia is one of these teams where this doesn't become a letdown spot after a big win for them. This becomes a let's prove to the ACC that we are the real deal. And I just have yet to trust this Louisville team. I don't know why. And speaking of trust, someone that has just completely thrown my trust out the window. Dylan Raiola. Whomst amongst us still believes in Dylan Raiola? I know I said that, but I still believe in him. However, I think Michigan State keeps us within 10.5 points, so give me Michigan State with the points. If you guys know, and you've been following me for a long time, Aiden Childs has just been my darling. And I want to trust him to continue to get the job done. And by get the job done, I mean lose football games in heartbreaking fashion, but somehow cover the spread. So give me Michigan State plus 10.5. If Dylan Raiola has arrived, he's just going to have to show me, and I haven't seen him show me yet. That Michigan game was so winnable. It's so winnable, and I feel like he's right at that precipice. He's right at that cusp of turning the page and giving me one of these and being Pat Mahomes like he does every single game, but then actually playing like him. This is just a message to Dylan Raiola, man. At some point, we got to play the part. You know what I mean? We can throw the costume on. We can throw the makeup on. But if we're not playing the part, why are we dressed up? Dylan Raiola. If we're not playing the part, why are we can't be acting like Pat Mahomes and playing like Jackson. That's just what it is. You've got great weapons around you. Abbott Johnson, dog. Barney, dog. Dane Key, dog. You should be a contender in the Big Ten. You should be beating the Michigans, and it's just, you're not. So give me Michigan State plus 10.5. I think this game also goes over, but I love my Spartans, and we know that. And we know that. And we know that. All right, we move. Mississippi State plus 14.5. It's my darling. Texas A&M isn't good enough to have a 14.5 point spread. I think this is genuine overreaction to A&M and not enough people paying attention to Mississippi State, who is 4-0 against the spread. Normally, my poopy brain would tell me they're due to not cover, but in fact, the opposite. I think this is a live dog. I think Blake Shapen is a guy I was screaming from the mountaintops before the season started. He is a guy that is going to shock the SEC this year, and that's why we took their win total and why it already cashed. Mississippi State plus 14.5, one of my favorite wagers of the week. Duke money line. Just move on. Just move on. Just move on. Okay? Just do me a favor, move on. Duke money line. I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. And just because I know the vibes of this episode hopefully are great in the comments. Hopefully everybody enjoys what we're doing right now because I'm trying something new. But all these plays just missed. I'm going to run this tape back. I'm going to have all these locked in. And I just want you to know, because it's the first episode, all these plays just missed. So go ahead and just fade the first episode. Hashtag fade the first episode. Hashtag welcome back, welcome in. All right, we move. It's time to pay for your drinks. So fire up the bartenders. Fire up the bar tabs. Welcome to Paying for the Drinks, brought to you by hashtag nobody. Let's get into it. 3 legs. Do you see how dumb I am? I just said 3 legs and threw up the number 2. I'm alone by myself in my apartment, somehow nervous talking into a camera. 3 legs. Pay for the Drinks parlay. This weekend's bar tab is paid by the following teams, brought to you by Mr. Overs. Pay for the Drinks parlay. Washington, Maryland, over. Fill my holes with points. Do I need to explain to you again why that game's going over? I will. Malik Washington, Damon Williams. Washington just got skunked. Malik wants to establish himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Points, points, points. 5 words, points. Kansas money line. I knew you thought we were going to get through this episode without squeaking in my sweet, sweet prince, Jalen Daniels. I won't. Kansas money line on a bounce back after a heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati. Jalen Daniels, money line. We move. Late night Duke money line. Yep, go ahead. Move on. Go ahead. Move on. Duke money line. I don't know what that was. I'm being a freak. Duke money line. 3 legs. Washington, Maryland over. Kansas money line. Duke money line. The pay for the drinks is always 3. And now welcome to our quick, speedy prop section of the day. The propping tins at a speed at which I will try to get through them as quickly as possible. Robbie Ashford rush yards, it's automatic. Ryan Williams receiving yards, it is a revenge spot, and he probably scores. Casey Concepcion yards, and he's probably scoring against Mississippi State. Run the damn ball, 3 running backs that are scoring. Nate Frazier, Damon Claiborne, Jamari Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been your first ever episode of whatever the heck this is called. The Red Mike Show, the morning after, whatever it is, we will figure it out soon. But I wanted to end every episode like the way I used to end every episode of my old show, and that is with some Mikey Core. Life will continue, and so should you. It's going to be an uphill battle as much as it's going to be a flat surface and as much as there's going to be times where you're flowing. Many times in life we get beaten down and we go through really difficult situations that can change us, that can make us feel a certain way about ourselves, that can make us feel like we're drowning and there's no way out. But you're strong and you're enough. And I think that's something I urge you to remind yourself. And you are stronger than your strongest battle. And you will get through whatever this feeling is that you're going through. And these ups and downs are going to be cyclical. And you're going to have to get through them. And that's just the reality. Because you have people that love you. You love people. And sometimes the battles feel impossible. They do. And I just want you to know you're going to get through it, and it's going to be fine. And I think it's important, something that I've tried to remember, and it's been difficult. It's been a process. I'm big on mental health, and something that I've been trying to remind myself every day of is that life will continue. The past is going to stay in the past. The future, it's not even worth worrying about. It's very easy to choose misery and to be miserable in your everyday life in the current situation by thinking about the future or by thinking about the problems that are coming or thinking about the problems that haven't even happened yet. And I just want to say something that I'm trying to do now is choose the light. Choose to be happy. Choose to go, I'm going to appreciate the blessings that I have today. I'm going to appreciate the fact that I woke up this morning. I'm going to appreciate the fact that I have people in my life that I care about and that there are people that care about me in my life. And I'm going to worry about the future, but I'm not going to allow it to affect my current. And I'm not going to waste my current worrying about the things that have already happened. Life is going to continue, and so should you. So take one step forward for me today. I know how hard it can be. Trust me. Sometimes just getting out of bed. Sometimes going to the gym. I've been calling my mom lately, and that's been huge in my life. You look at the phone and it says 30 minutes, and you go, man, she had no idea how much I needed this. Even though I do this fun thing where it's like I call my mom and no matter what she says, it's the most annoying thing ever. It's like I love her. I would do horrible things for my mom. But it's just one of those things. I think it was Andrew Santino or one of those comedians that was like, the minute you talk to your mom, it's just like, you look good in the color green. Well, why didn't you tell me that I looked good in the color green until I was 27 years old? It's like one of those things. But I found that talking to my mom has been huge. But just take one step forward for me. I know how hard it can be. And I know how bad life can get you down, but I promise you this life is going to continue. That sun is going to come up in the morning, hopefully. And we're going to be good. You're going to be good. You can get through it. I promise. If I'm fighting, you're fighting. You're stronger than your strongest battle. I love you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. I'm going to try to do this for the rest of the college football year. So catch me on CBS SPORTSLINE YouTube for NFL stuff. And I'll be on CBS Sports HQ every Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. So check me out there. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you giving me your time if you listen to this episode. And take one step forward. I know how hard it can be. Thanks, guys.